10 money habits that turned my finances around. Most people think building wealth requires a big paycheck or winning the lottery, but the truth is, it usually comes down to small, consistent money habits. In this video, I'm going to share the 10 money habits that completely turned my finances around. These are simple changes anyone can make, whether it's how you budget, save, or invest, and over time, they can transform your financial future. So, if you're ready to take control of your money and build lasting wealth, let's get started. So before we start, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. 1. Tracking every dollar. One of the first and most powerful habits I developed was tracking where every single dollar went. At first, it sounded tedious. Why would I want to write down every cup of coffee, every subscription, and every grocery trip? But once I did, I realized how much money I was wasting on things I didn't truly value. By using a simple budgeting app, I categorized my spending and saw patterns I had ignored for years. For example, I noticed I was spending over $200 a month on eating out without even realizing it. That was money that could have gone toward debt repayment or savings. Tracking expenses gave me clarity and accountability. More importantly, it forced me to make intentional decisions instead of blindly swiping my card. Over time, this habit became automatic. I no longer had to guess where my money was going. I could see exactly what was happening and adjust accordingly. This simple step laid the foundation for every other money habit that followed because it gave me visibility and control. Without knowing where your money goes, it's impossible to make progress. Tracking every dollar gave me the roadmap I needed to transform my finances. 2. Creating a realistic budget. Once I tracked my money, the next habit was creating a realistic budget that fit my lifestyle, not one that was overly restrictive or impossible to follow. Many people fail at budgeting because they create plans that cut out everything enjoyable, leading to frustration and quitting. Instead, I built a system where every dollar had a purpose, but I also allowed room for fun. I started with the 50-30-20 method, 50% of income for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings and debt repayment. This gave me structure, but also flexibility. If I wanted to spend on a Friday night dinner or a new pair of shoes, I could, but I knew exactly how much I could afford without feeling guilty. Another key was automating fixed expenses like rent, utilities, and subscriptions, so I didn't have to think about them. My budget wasn't about restriction, it was about freedom. It gave me permission to spend on things I truly valued while making progress toward financial goals. Over time, budgeting became empowering instead of stressful. It wasn't about depriving myself, it was about aligning my spending with my priorities. A realistic budget ensured I stayed consistent, and consistency is what builds wealth. 3. Building an emergency fund. One of the most life-changing money habits was prioritizing an emergency fund. Before I had one, every unexpected expense, car repairs, medical bills, or even losing a freelance client, would throw me into panic mode. I would reach for credit cards, sink deeper into debt, and stress about how to cover the costs. Once I built an emergency fund, everything changed. I started small, just $500 set aside in a separate savings account. Over time, I worked my way up to 3 months of living expenses. Knowing that I had a cushion gave me peace of mind and financial security. It meant I could handle surprises without derailing my progress or falling back into debt. It also gave me confidence to take risks, like pursuing new job opportunities, because I wasn't living paycheck to paycheck anymore. My emergency fund became a safety net that allowed me to move forward, instead of constantly worrying about falling behind. Many people underestimate how powerful this habit is, but it's truly a game changer. Life is unpredictable, and having savings set aside means you can handle anything without fear. It was one of the smartest financial moves I ever made. 4. Paying off high-interest debt. Carrying debt was like dragging a heavy chain everywhere I went. The interest alone was eating away at my income and limiting my ability to build wealth. That's why one of my most impactful habits was aggressively paying off high-interest debt. I started by listing all my debts, credit cards, loans, and balances with their interest rates. Then I prioritized the ones costing me the most. I used the debt avalanche method, targeting high-interest balances first while still making minimum payments on the rest. Each time I paid one off, I rolled that payment into the next, creating momentum. Watching the balances shrink was motivating, and eventually I became debt-free, except for my mortgage. More importantly, it gave me emotional relief. Debt no longer controlled my life. I could finally use my money for building the future instead of paying for the past. Tackling debt requires discipline and sacrifice, but it's worth every effort. 5. Automating savings and investments. One of the smartest habits I developed was automating my savings and investments. In the past, I told myself I'd save whatever was left at the end of the month, but there was never anything left. I set up direct transfers so a portion of every paycheck went into savings and investment accounts before I even saw it. This made saving effortless and consistent. Over time, those automatic contributions grew into significant amounts without me even noticing. I also automated retirement contributions, taking advantage of employer matches and tax benefits. By removing the need for willpower, I ensured that saving was always a priority. This habit created consistency, which is the true key to building wealth. Small, steady contributions compound over time into something powerful. 6. Living below my means. Another critical habit was learning to live below my means. For years, I fell into the trap of lifestyle inflation. Every time my income went up, so did my spending. A raise meant nicer gadgets, fancier dinners, or upgrading my apartment. But this cycle kept me broke despite earning more money. Once I made the conscious choice to spend less than I earned, everything shifted. I started focusing on value instead of image. Instead of buying things to impress others, I spent on what truly mattered. I learned to delay gratification, avoid unnecessary debt, and make intentional purchases. Living below my means didn't mean being cheap. It meant creating space between what I earned and what I spent. That gap became the fuel for savings, investing, and wealth building. 7. Learning about money continuously. Financial literacy was another habit that transformed my life. I realized that schools never taught me about money, and if I wanted to succeed, I had to educate myself. I started reading personal finance books, listening to podcasts, watching videos, and following experts who shared practical strategies. Over time, I learned about budgeting, investing, credit scores, taxes, and wealth-building principles. The more I learned, the more confident I became in making decisions. Knowledge helped me avoid mistakes like chasing quick wins or falling for scams. It also opened my eyes to opportunities I never knew existed, like index funds, dividend investing, and passive income strategies. If you liked this video and would like to see more like it, please give it the thumbs up, leave a comment, and click the button to subscribe.